George Washington's story begins long before he became a symbol of the United States. His early life shaped the principles he carried into the Revolution and into the presidency. Born in 1732 in Virginia, he grew up in a world defined by farming, land ownership and the ambitions of families who wanted to rise in status. Washington spent his childhood learning practical skills rather than receiving an elite European-style education. He studied math, surveying and basic literature, and from a young age he understood how land shaped fortunes. He entered adulthood with a sense of discipline that impressed older men. By his late teens he had become a surveyor and spent weeks in the wilderness charting terrain, sleeping under the stars and learning to survive in rugged conditions. These early years built his endurance and his calm approach to danger. They also gave him insight into the vast American landscape he would later fight for. His first real taste of public life came through military service. As tension grew between France and Britain in North America, Washington saw an opportunity to rise. At just 21, he accepted a mission from the British colonial governor of Virginia to deliver a warning to French forces in the Ohio Valley. The journey was long and filled with risk, but he completed it with determination. The conflict escalated into the French and Indian War, and Washington soon commanded troops in difficult battles. He experienced early failure, including the defeat at Fort Necessity, but he also proved his courage. At the Battle of the Monongahela, he rode through gunfire to deliver orders as British officers fell around him. Some soldiers claimed he seemed untouchable when bullets tore through his coat but missed his body. These events built his reputation as a fearless officer who remained steady when others panicked. Washington left the war with a stronger public image but frustrated ambitions. He wanted a commission in the British Regular Army. Washington's leadership faced intense challenges as the British moved to crush the rebellion with overwhelming force. In 1776, the British Army and Navy attacked New York with tens of thousands of men. Washington and his troops were outmatched. They lost battles on Long Island, in Manhattan and across the region. Washington ordered a daring nighttime retreat across the East River, saving his army from encirclement. The campaigns in New York were some of the most painful moments of his military career, exposing weaknesses in the Continental Army and the difficulty of opposing a global empire. Yet Washington kept focus. He believed the war could not be won by holding cities, but by wearing down British resolve over time. As long as the American army lived, the revolution lived. As morale dropped and enlistments expired, Washington made a bold decision. He crossed the icy Delaware River on Christmas night and struck the Hessian garrison at Trenton. The victory was swift and unexpected. A week later he won another important battle at Princeton. These triumphs revived the spirit of the Revolution and proved that the Continental Army could outsmart and outfight the enemy under the right conditions. Washington's daring winter campaign became legendary. It showed his willingness to take calculated risks when the cause demanded it. It also cemented his position as the one commander capable of keeping the army united. The war dragged on for years. Washington struggled constantly with shortages, unpaid soldiers and political interference. Congress lacked money and often moved slowly. Some officers doubted his abilities, and rivals tried to undermine him. Washington faced criticism for avoiding large battles, but he understood that a major defeat could end the revolution. His strategy focused on patience and endurance. He maintained pressure on the British, avoided unnecessary risks and kept his men alive during brutal winters, especially the harsh encampment at Valley Forge. Washington guided the Constitutional Convention with quiet authority. He rarely spoke, but his leadership kept debates orderly and focused. Delegates worked through the summer heat to create a new framework of government built on checks, balances and shared power. When the Constitution was completed, Washington supported it strongly but let others defend it publicly. His approval alone reassured doubtful citizens. As states debated ratification, it became clear that no one else could lead the new government. Washington's reputation for honesty, restraint and duty made him the obvious choice for president. He did not campaign. He simply accepted the role as a responsibility placed on him by the people. In 1789 Washington traveled to New York for his inauguration. Crowds lined the streets to see him. Many felt the nation's future depended on his leadership. Washington took the oath of office on a balcony and stepped into a role with no precedent. Everything he did would shape the presidency forever. He approached the job with seriousness and caution. He built the first cabinet, bringing together talented leaders like Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson. He established traditions such as the presidential oath, the title, Mr. President, and regular meetings with advisors. He understood that the president must not resemble a monarch, yet must be strong enough to hold the Union together. Washington's presidency faced difficult challenges. The nation was deep in debt from the war. Hamilton proposed a financial plan to stabilize the economy, including a national bank and federal assumption of state debts. Washington supported the plan despite fierce debate. The decisions helped build American credit and laid the foundation for economic growth. At the same time, political divisions grew. Jefferson and Hamilton clashed over the role of the federal government. Their disagreements fueled the emergence of America's first political parties. Washington disliked factionalism. In December 1799 Washington became ill after riding through cold rain. The sickness worsened quickly and doctors could not save him. His death shocked the young nation. Bells rang across cities, memorial services were held in every state and people mourned as if they had lost a family member. Tributes described him as the father of his country. His leadership in war and peace had given the United States stability when it needed it most. Washington's legacy continued to shape the nation long after his death. He had led an army with limited resources against the strongest empire of the time and kept it alive through perseverance rather than brilliance alone. He had refused kingship when it was within reach and instead strengthened the idea that power comes from the people. As president, he set standards of dignity, restraint and accountability that influenced every leader who came after him. He established institutions, managed crises, and gave the new nation credibility on the world stage. His decision to retire after 2 terms created a tradition later written into the Constitution. Washington's story is also a story of the early United States. It reflects the struggle to form a national identity, the tension between liberty and order, the challenge of building a republic and the effort to balance regional differences. His life contained contradictions, especially regarding slavery, yet his commitment to the principles of unity, civilian rule and constitutional government shaped the path of American history. The nation that emerged after the Revolution needed a figure who could bridge colonies, ideologies and interests. Washington was that figure. He guided the country through uncertainty, modeled leadership based on duty rather than ambition and built trust where conflict threatened to divide. His strength came not only from military courage but also from restraint. He understood that real power required discipline, humility, and an awareness of history's judgment.